Hello, I am the Understudy, and this is the channel where we discuss everything musical theater related. Today, we are reading Barron's AP Music Theory 3rd edition by Nancy Fuller-Skagen, BME. This is a long and extensive book, and I'm working my way through it to learn more, and these videos are a way for me to organize my journey, but I'm very happy that you're here to learn with me. Before we start, if you have any questions, type them in the comments, and I'll make sure to answer them. And let's move on. This is part 15, Aural Skills Part 3, Harmonic Dictation. There we go. Harmonic dictation preparation. In this aural skills chapter, we break down the process of harmonic dictation into easily managed chunks of listening segments. Our goal is to prepare the brain before the ear hears and to use all the tools at our disposal for successful harmonic dictation. What skills are required for successful harmonic dictation? Understanding the relationship to chords to the tonal center. Discriminating between chords' qualities and recognizing inversions. Recognizing familiar patterns, linear movement, in the melody and the bass and their placement within this example or the example. Recognizing and notating cadences. Understanding the norms of the common practice style. What is the aural process of harmonic dictation? There are 2 harmonic dictations questions in the free response section exam, free response 3 and 4. The key is given to you. One will be in major and one will be in minor. Both examples contain 9 chords with the first one complete, always tonic, and remaining 8 chords left blank. You are to fill in the soprano, the bass line, and the Roman numeral chord symbol, including inversions where appropriate. The meter is always simple. There will be no rhythmic concerns. This is about hearing the progression of harmonies and how logically they relate to each other within the key, and correctly notating those chords on the grand staff. The progression will be played 4 times on piano. There is a pause of 30 seconds after the first one and a minute pause after each subsequent playing. So what do we know for sure? This information we must have already stored and ready to use. The 3 harmonic areas and functions are tonic, subdominant, sometimes referred to as predominant, and the dominant. The harmonies represent these functions are, here we have the tonic and the submediant, the subdominant and the supertonics, and with a 7th, and the dominant with a 7th, and the leading tone diminished triad or leading tone diminished 7th. Other harmonic truths are that the root position chords are considered strong. The supertonic and the leading tone chords are commonly found in first inversion, and the supertonic is in first inversion is a strong subdominant harmony because it has fa in the bass. Second inversion and sometimes first inversion harmonies are often used to prolong stronger harmonies. There are 4 basic ways of prolonging harmonies. We have passing harmonies, as you can see at the top here, with a bass line do, re, mi. We have neighbor harmonies, which creates neighbors in the upper voice. The bass line would be mi, fa, mi, and pedal in the upper voice would be mi, fa, mi, and the pedal in the bass would be do, do, do. We have the arpeggiated harmonies with the bass do, mi, so, and the cadential harmonies with the bass line so, so, do. This prolongs the dominant function when it precedes the dominant at the cadence. Harmonic progressions move in tonic to subdominant to subdominant to tonic, like you can see here. Tonic, subdominant, dominant, tonic. Dominant harmonies do not move to subdominant. That is called retrogression. Chromatic chords, secondary dominants or secondary leading tones, are prolonging the chords they lead to. Like this, we would have a tonic, dominant, dominant, tonic. Significant harmonic function changes usually occur on strong beats. When a bass line is conjunct, harmonies are generally being prolonged. When large skips or leaps occur in the bass, this often signal a change of function. How do we connect dots between hearing and notating? Understanding what commonly ends a phrase. So understanding that only the tonic, the dominant, or the submediant can be the last chord. Understanding cadential patterns like bass and soprano. Listening for basic patterns in the bass line, and being able to orally identify cadences. Understand what harmonies are implied from knowing the bass line. We also need to understand what commonly begins a phrase. So return the tonic. Listen for the basic patterns in the bass line. So understand what harmonies are implied from knowing the bass line. And understanding what commonly occurs in the middle of a phrase. common subdominant functions, possible use of chromatic harmony, possible use of inverted chords for prolonging harmony, and listen for common basic patterns in the bass line. Once again, understanding what harmonies are implied from knowing the bass line. So, implied harmonies. Let's start with what is common to each segment of a phrase, understanding what harmonies are implied from knowing the bass line. So when the bass is do, the implied harmony is tonic, or possibly a second inversion subdominant. If the bass is T, the implied harmony is a first inversion dominant chord, either with an added 7 or just a triad. It could also be a leading tone, chord with a 7th. If it is La, then the implied harmony is a minor 6th chord, or also called a submediant. It could also be a subdominant in first inversion. If the bass is So, then the implied harmony is a dominant, or possibly a tonic in second inversion. If the bass line is Fa, then the implied harmony is the subdominant harmony, or a first inversion supertonic, could be with a possible added 7th. If the bass line is Mi, then the implied harmony is a first inversion tonic, if we have no other option for that one. And if the bass is Re, then the implied harmony is a supertonic, possibly a second inversion dominant chord, but possibly an added 7th, or a leading tone, a triad in first inversion. So recognizing and notating cadences. We start in the way phrases end, the cadence. It is critical to understand how to orally identify and correctly notate cadences. We have been practicing this all along in part writing, harmonizing a melody, and singing, starting with the two most common bassline endings from our top 10. Those endings are so so do and fa so do. Both imply a authentic cadence for dominant to either a major or minor tonic. However, they differ on the chord that comes before the dominant. I have these so we can listen to them. So first, let's listen to this one, the so so do. And then we have the second one right here. Let's move on to the fa so do. These two both sound the same no matter major or minor, and these could also be the same no matter major or minor. So let's listen to what the fa so do sounds like. Gorgeous. If you hear so so do in the bass and recognize that it is this chord progression right here, then what is commonly heard in the melody? Let's listen to these three examples. So we have the first example. And then we have the second example in minor. And then imperfect authentic in minor. Gorgeous, gorgeous. If we hear fa so do in the bass, like all of these examples are, we have two choices for implied harmony. Either the subdominant or the supertonic first inversion. Both would have fa in the bass. So how do we know which one is which? The one is major and the other is minor. Our ear must confirm the correct answer. With fa so do in the bass, these are the common melodic patterns. So we can have the supertonic first inversion to the dominant with a 7th to the tonic. It can harmonize with re, re, do, but the superdominant and the following cannot. Why? Because there's no re in the subdominant chord. Also, the subdominant to the dominant to the tonic can be harmonized do, ti, do, but no do, re, do, because that would be a parallel fifth. We also have we have the supertonic in first inversion to the dominant, or the dominant with a 7th to the 1, or to the tonic, that can be harmonized with re, re, do, or re, ti, do. So let's look at these examples and see what they sound like. Here we have the major, major, and then 3 minors. This one is a parallel fifth and would not work. But let's see what they sound like. Here they come. So first one. then we have the second one. And the third one. The fourth one. And the last one. Wonderful. Other common bass lines and their implied harmonies that end the phrases and what type of cadence they would be. So fa, sol, la, the implied end harmony would be the subdominant to the dominant to the submediant. It would be a deceptive. Fa, sol, la is the same but in minor. So we have the subdominant minor chord to the dominant to the major submediant, which is also be a deceptive. We have so, so, la, which is the first inversion tonic major chord to the dominant to the minor submediant, which is also a deceptive chord. We have so, so, la, which is the second inversion tonic minor chord to the dominant to the major submediant, which is also a deceptive. Then we have fa, do, which is the subdominant to the tonic, either in major or minor, and these are both plagal. Then we have the fa, so, which is, we have, let's see a few examples here. We can either have it in, these are the same here. Let's see if they are the same there. Oh, I see. This one should also be a diminished. So let's see. We have the major subdominant to the dominant, or the supertonic first inversion to the dominant, which is a half. We could also have this in minor, meaning this would be a minor subdominant to dominant, or a diminished in a first inversion to the dominant, which would also be a half. And then we have the lay so, which is the this is weird. This should be small b. We have the minor subdominant first inversion chord to the major dominant chord, which is the Phrygian half. Let us move on and look at some recognizing the phrase beginnings. So here we look at the common bass line that might begin a phrase. Common bass lines are do, ti, do, and the implied beginning harmony is a tonic to a first inversion dominant and then back to the tonic. We also have do, ti, do with, let's see, yes, with an added seventh right here, otherwise it's the same. We have do, re, mi with the tonic to the second inversion dominant to the first inversion tonic. This could also be with an added seventh. We have do, re, mi with the tonic to the diminished leading tone triad in first inversion to the first inversion tonic. We have the do, do, do leading on, we have that from a tonic to a subdominant in second inversion to the tonic. We also have do, fa, mi from the tonic to the third inversion dominant chord to the what's it called, the first inversion tonic, and this is a resolution in the bass. We have do, fa, mi with these chords instead, meaning it is tonic to the subdominant to the tonic in first inversion, and we have do, mi, so, meaning we have the tonic, tonic first inversion, tonic second inversion. We also have some examples of melodies here. These are all beginning examples in major, and they are all in C major. So let us listen to what they sound, just so you can hear the, this is C. That is our tonic. Let's continue and listen to the first example. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. And now, notice how the progression and subsequent notation is altered when in a minor mode. So let us listen to the minor mode. Here we have example 1. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now let us continue on to recognize and notating some mid-phrase. So now we move on to the final portion of our harmonic dictation preparation, the middle. Something has to be sandwiched in between the beginning chords that focus on the tonic and the ending cadential progression that generally feature the dominant harmony before closing with the cadence. The middle 3 or 4 chords generally function as a transition between the beginning of the phrase and the cadence. Once past the beginning 3 or 4 chords, a phrase generally continues to progress in an intensity and then culminates with the cadence. What harmonies function as transition? Well, the subdominant or predominant harmonies, being the supertonic or the subdominant chords, give us the full progression of the STDT. Remember that the supertonic is a strong subdominant function, especially in its first inversion, and is stronger than the subdominant when it has an added seventh, particularly in minor because the supertonic seventh chord is half diminished. So let's look at these few examples of common progressions, the implied harmony, and other elements that could be featured in the middle. So here we have the common bass lines once again, but for this time we have the mid phrase, and there is the implied middle harmony. So fa mi would imply a dominant to a seventh chord dominant in third inversion to a tonic in first inversion. We have the mi fa so, which would imply a tonic in first inversion, a supertonic in with an added seventh in first inversion. No, actually, it would be in second inversion. Just kidding. To a dominant, we have the do la fa, the tonic to the submediant to the subdominant, or the tonic to the submediant to the supertonic in first inversion. We have la fa mi with the subdominant to the submediant to the tonic in first inversion, or the submediant in first inversion to the submediant to the tonic in first inversion. Fa mi would imply a subdominant to a first inversion tonic, or a third inversion dominant added seventh to a tonic in first inversion. We have fa re, the subdominant to the supertonic, or fa, the subdominant to a supertonic in first inversion, but not the other way around. We have fa fi so, which would mean a subdominant, a dominant over dominant in second inversion to a dominant, or a supertonic in first inversion to the dominant in second inversion over the dominant to the dominant. We also have fa so si la, which would imply the subdominant to the dominant to a dominant in second inversion with the added seventh to the submediant over the submediant to the submediant. We have me, mi, fa, which would imply a tonic in first inversion, and then we would have the dominant seventh in second inversion over the subdominant to the subdominant. The middle sections uses inversions in the bass. The middle section uses inversions if the bass is moving stepwise. Skips of a third are also frequently used. The subdominant, supertonic, and submediant are the most frequently used chords. Therefore, the midsection is generally considered subdominant expansion. The second harmonic dictation exercise on the AP Music Theory exam, the free response 4, it is very common to have a secondary dominant occur somewhere from the middle third to the end of the example, usually with the accidental occurring in the bass or soprano. Here are some examples, but certainly not all possibilities, of mid-phrase progressions. We will start with the mid-phrase progressions with tonic since the opening third often returns to tonic. So let us listen to some of them. We have a E flat major, and then we have two minors in C. So let us start with the E flat major right here. And let us move on to this one. Let us go on to the minor chords in C. And the other minor. And that is it of part 15 of this book. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, I'd be honored if you subscribe. Post any questions that you have down below and I'll answer them. And if not, let's see you on the next one.